I don't know if you know it, Mike. Yesterday was Juneteenth. I'm a former advisory member of the Frederick Douglass Foundation here in Illinois. And my good friend Babette and Raquel Mitchell, Babette
Yes,
Holder and
I know them
Raquel
both.
Mitchell,
Yeah.
they were there as well. And, you know, a lot of people, I believe, the celebration and what Juneteenth mean has been hijacked by the left. I believe that with every fiber in me. And I caught a little flack yesterday because I came out on the show saying that today is Juneteenth, and people were like, well, huh? Isn't that what? But didn't Joe Biden make it a federal holiday? I don't know. We can debate about if it should have been a federal holiday. President Trump just said on yesterday we have too many federal holidays.
I mean, but it objectively is a federal holiday right now.
Right, Joe
Juneteenth is.
Biden.
Yeah.
Joe Biden actually made. Actually, President Trump was going to do that in his first term, and he decided to wait until he won in his second term to actually. I don't know if he's going to make it a federal holiday, but he wanted to highlight it. And I know my good friend Deontay Johnson from Black Conservative Federation actually did an op-ed on Juneteenth, and I wanted to bring somebody on that would be able to articulate what it means. What is it? What is Juneteenth? Why was it created? And why should Republicans celebrate it? And I'm going to actually, Priscilla Rahn, she's a Project 21 ambassador. She's former vice chairman of the Colorado Republican Committee, and she's also a longtime public servant. I wanted to bring her on because, like me, she's mixed race. And we have people who are mixed race, and I know she's probably laughing right now because she understands it. We get caught up in the different worlds that we are born into. Me, black, my dad's white, which I just found out 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't know that. But Priscilla, welcome to The Morning Answer. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
You know, I really appreciate it. You know, you've talked about Juneteenth as a powerful reminder of the promise of liberty fulfilled. From your perspective, what does that fulfillment look like today, and where is it still lacking?
Well, it looks like really making sure that we are seen for our minds. You know, the United Negro College Fund had a commercial in the early 70s that said a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And I've just learned how powerful our minds are in the Black community and how we've lost that. And we need to get back to focusing on our creativity as a Black community, pushing for smaller government, more independence, so we can get our families back. And so I think it's a great reminder to focus on our skills and our independence and, the things that made us great when Abraham Lincoln did emancipate slaves and we finally got to Texas and the news got there. I mean, it's like, it's come full circle.
And you know what's so crazy about that? When the I believe his name was Major General Granger, who had to travel all the way to Texas 2.5 years after Lincoln freed the slaves to tell them that, hey, brother, sister, you're free. And but I think what people don't understand about that story, there was the Democratic Party who did not want to release these slaves. So talk to us about why what's the importance of Juneteenth, and why should Republicans look at this from a different perspective and not look at it through the critical race lens how the left has hijacked this important celebration?
Yeah, I think we as Republicans have forgotten that it's more than just we're the party of freeing the slaves. We were the party of the Constitution and equity, right? And opportunity and independence and the American dream. And although we haven't quite gotten there because the left, like you said, continues to hijack this narrative and separate us and divide us, these are wonderful opportunities to say, as a Republican Party, we continue to stand for these principles and these values that we believe in the content of character, not the color of someone's skin, and take charge of these holidays. I feel like Biden threw us a bone. Like, what did it accomplish to make it a federal holiday? No, nothing. It just made him look like he cared more. And we as Republicans have to do a better job of showing that we actually care. We can't just say this was something that happened, decades ago. it's something we continue to fight for today.
Yeah.
Priscilla,
great opportunity.
Priscilla, great to speak with you. Mike Coolidge here. You talk about, and John just talked about, how the left has hijacked Juneteenth. Like so many other things, they go right to the politics, right to the what, hey, can we make of this? Ilhan Omar yesterday tweeted, 160 years ago, on June 19th, 1865, slavery ended in this country. Today we celebrate Black freedom, resilience, and achievement, and continue to root out the systemic racism from our policies and institutions. Turns out, too, as many pointed out, Ilhan Omar, originally from Somalia, has 98,000 people living in modern slavery, according to a 2023 report for Walk Free. That's 6.2 people for every 1,000 people. So the country she came from is still a slavery country, but she didn't want to say something positive about her own country, the United States, how far we've come. No, she immediately turned it into criticism of the United States. She has since deleted that tweet. But what does that say about how the left treats and politicizes things that should probably be uniting us? I mean, Juneteenth is an objectively positive holiday. The celebration of the end of slavery that is, a dark period, obviously, in American history, but that is a unifying thing, that this country fought a terrible, bloody, worst war in our history about it and has overcome this, terrible slavery thing. But no, I guess according to people like Ilhan Omar, there's still remnants of that. What do you make of that?
So for those who may not know the history of America and the Democratic Party, racism is in their DNA. I am so convinced of it. The more I study my history and my heritage, let's just start, with slavery, the KKK, Jim Crow, redlining, marriage laws, lynching, all of the things. And then we fast forward to, what they've done with abortion in the Black community and the genocide and the targeted genocide of our people. Everything that they do, lately it's been renaming everything, taking Aunt Jemima off of the syrup. They try to make themselves out to be this big force of equality, but really what they've done is continue to badger us, from presidents saying, acting like we don't know how to go get an ID. We don't know how to use the internet. It's continuous,
so condescending,
continuous soft bigotry of low expectations of the Black community. We see it in education. I'm an educator. We still have an economic gap. We have all of these things, and the Democrat Party continues to pass policies that damage the Black family. They hurt Black men in our communities. They're putting skirts on our little Black boys and feminizing them. They're doing all of this stuff to continue to destroy the Black family and Black fatherhood. And so I'll give you another example. Recently, my father was military. They changed the name of Fort Hood to Fort Cavazos. No disrespect to General Cavazos, but now President Trump is changing the name back, and people are in uproar about Confederates, And I'm like, you guys keep changing the names of everything, but you're not getting to the point of what really matters to the Black community. We want opportunity. We want financial stability. We need strong families, but the policies that they pass actually eradicate those things that are important to us.
Well, on that point, Priscilla, do you see things moving in the right direction as far as members of the Black community, particularly with how they vote, waking up to the efficacy of conservative Republican policies versus the, Democrat, big government, expand the government, get as many people as dependent on the government as possible, thing that doesn't work in Detroit, doesn't work in Chicago, doesn't work in Milwaukee, doesn't work in Denver. I know you live in Colorado. The data says that more non-white men are voting for Republicans more and more and moving away from the Democrat Party. Are you seeing that in Colorado and elsewhere as you travel?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, President Trump won with +7 in the Black community this last election. And, the Republican Party, we respect men. We respect fatherhood. We respect masculinity. That's what women want. I'm going to tell you right now, women want strong men who are godly men, who are going to stand up for principles and protect their families. And I think that we need to get away from that feminist movement that just degraded men and said, we don't need you. We've had that whole, era where Black women was like, I don't need you, and talking down to their children about their dads. I mean, this is the stuff that needs to change. In the Republican Party, we stand for better principles and those types of things. So I think it's refreshing that men are seeing that, and we honor fathers and we honor men in our community. We need strong men because so go the men, so goes the family, so goes the community. So that's what we're standing for. And I think, President Trump and this administration, we're seeing that.
And Priscilla, one of the things that I tackled on my Detroit Morning and Answer show was Black fatigue. I think people are fatigued from Black fatigue. I want you to listen to Whoopi Goldberg speak about Black people having it worse than what's happening in Iran. I want you to hear what these brothers are saying about what she had to say, and I want to get your take.
Yeah,
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're Black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're Black.
Guys, don't go.
These are brothers.
Them niggas are having bombs dropped on them right now.
Oops.
We at this bitch with a school.
I better stop it. But that's the consternation that a lot of them, especially brothers, and I think that's one of the reasons why you had Barack Obama chiding Black men, basically telling us we need to vote for her just because she's Black and a woman. When you hear this. Is there fatigue amongst the Black fatigue? And if you don't know what Black fatigue is, it's basically the chronic mental, emotional, and physical exhaustion experienced by Black individuals due to repeated exposure to racism. Everything is racist, basically. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm fatigued. But when you hear people like Whoopi and Oprah and the Obamas, who are millionaires, try to talk about how oppressed we are, I mean, I'm not here for that, right?
Yeah.
It's so hypocritical to hear them talk like that. But once again, that's the narrative that the left has to continue to perpetuate in order to get votes at the polls. And they use, I call it also adrenal fry. They keep frying our adrenals with this stuff, and we get sick and tired. And when you have someone like, Biden really upset me when he said, I'm going to find a Black woman to be my vice chair. I'm going to find a Black woman to be on the Supreme Court. Why didn't you just say you're going to pick someone who's intelligent, qualified, and will do a great job? Because for someone like me as a Black woman, I'm thinking, so the only thing I have to offer is the color of my skin, not my mind. And so they continue to degrade our minds. And Black people in the community need to start activating their brains and thinking for themselves and being a contributor to society. That's going to be the key.
That is such a huge point. The decision that Sleepy Joe made on both of those picks, Kamala Harris for vice president and KJB or the Supreme Court Justice Jackson for the Supreme Court. The fact that he said before he chose them that this is going to be a Black female, he could have made such a bigger statement and just been a more fair person and encouraged young Black women to, strive for excellence. And if he had said exactly what you said, Priscilla, I'm going to choose the smartest, greatest person, and he still picked Kamala Harris, and he still picked Supreme Court Jackson, and then, young Black women could be inspired by that and say, oh, he had his choice from all different people of the world. He looked at everyone in America and, white men, Black men, Hispanic women, and he chose this person to be his vice president. No, he said right from the get-go, I'm discriminating against everyone who's not a black female. I'm only going to choose a black female, and it's going to be Kamala Harris and then Jackson. I mean, that message is just so negative to black females. I've got to think. No, I mean, I'm not a black female. You are.
You don't identify as one?
I do not.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Priscilla.
Well, no, I mean, and I think that's what makes it more challenging for President Trump when he ended his DEI programs, because, you know, people are funny in society when they see, oh, you have a black pilot or a black doctor, and then it's human nature. People start to question.
Yeah.
Were they a DEI hire? Do they really have the skills? If we would just stop hiring based on skin color, and say, I'm, you know, gonna go to somebody that actually is qualified and smart, you know, that would help a lot.
Isn't it funny that people get offended if you say that Kamala Harris was a DEI hire, or that kid, but then it's like, oh wait, how is that offensive? Like, I thought DEI was good. You know, is it good or is it bad?
It hasn't helped black people.
No, it's terrible.
I mean, think about it. She spent the whole campaign calling Biden a racist.
Yeah.
On the debate stage.
Yeah.
Right. And then she drops out, has what, less than 1 or 2% votes or popularity, and then he turns around and makes her his candidate because he needs a black person on his ticket. I mean, he totally used her.
Yeah. It was a debate. Do you remember her thing on Colbert?
Yeah.
It was a debate. That was her whole response to that.
Really quickly, Priscilla, we got about a minute left. You know, why do black folks continue to fall for those buzzwords? Equity, you know, equality, and, you know, and when you look at the policies that are implemented, none of that actually trickles down to black communities. Why do we, what's the message? How do we get beyond that, Priscilla?
Well, there's still some inequities lingering, right? There's still some opportunity gaps that are lingering from our parents' generation that we're still working through. Like we're basically one generation from the civil rights movement. So there's a lot of work to do, but I think it's going to start with stop being a part of the groupthink. Stop saying I have to be Democrat because I'm black. Be independent. Go back to Frederick Douglass. Go back to the time where we created the NAACP, right?
Yeah.
And go to those principles, those founding principles, and hold these people accountable. In the so-called black leaders, they're not doing us any favors either. They're a traitor to our race. Malcolm X, bro.
Yeah, and you know what? Also, go and read the blueprint for a better deal for Black America, instituted by the Project 21 in October 2022. It was an amazing read, and everything that you guys are doing over at the Project 21. I know you're an ambassador there. I want to thank you guys for everything you do and all of the people that I interview on a daily basis. So let everybody at the leadership team know that I appreciate them.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on today.
All right. She's Priscilla
Great to
Rahn.
meet you, Priscilla.
She's Priscilla Rahn, Project 21 ambassador. She's also the former vice chairman of the Colorado Republican Committee. We'll be right back.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between